Welcome back for another DM Tips video. This is for Dragonlance Chapter 5, Part A or Part A and B. Turns out Chapter 5 is pretty packed full of information, so I did it in 2 sessions. Hopefully you'll have 2 sessions to do it as well. Level for characters should be level 6. There will be spoilers abounding here, so if you're a player, please play the adventure, then come back after you have a chance to play it. So let's look at pacing. Project lead for this is F. Wesley Schneider, and him and his team did a fantastic job. So let's look at pacing here. If you have to do it in a game day, then you're going to have to be pretty fast. You got to get through the intro, the Desperation, Kalaman, finding out about going into the Northern Wastes, getting to Wrecker's Edge where the ships beach, and then talking to Dalamar at the Elven Encampment in the first hour, and then Blue Phoenix Shrine, Sunward Fortress, and Wakenreth each hour after that. These next 3 here, they can be really in any order the players decide to take them on. Now, if you have more time, if you can do it in 8 hours, then you can spread this apart a little bit, do some of the random encounters that can happen in between each. I like the Malfunctioning Gate specifically. And let me zoom out and show you the maps that I use here. This is Tessa. Tessa Maps did a lot of these maps, and they're just absolutely fantastic. So, of course, I have this darkened out when I'm running the adventure for the players, and I only reveal its information as the players find it. And let's zoom in on the world map here. So the players will start in Kalaman, and when they're in Kalaman, of course, it's the aftermath of the last part of the adventure where the whole city council was murdered, slaughtered. The party saw visions of Lord Soth, and they have reason to believe Lord Soth has headed into the Northern Wastes. And now there's scouting reports also of armies, Red Dragon armies heading into the Northern Wastes. So to give chase and to hopefully find this lost city, or the city of lost names, before Soth does, the party heads to Wrecker's Edge with a detachment of soldiers from Kalaman. This also gets them out of Kalaman, where things are pretty heated because they're being blamed for the slaughter that happened, even though they weren't involved in that. Of course, it's being propagated or promulgated by Lord Bacaris. So the party gets out, they get to Wrecker's Edge, and here's the first encounter here at Wrecker's Edge. For music for this adventure, there's a bunch of them. I'll have it in the description below, but here you'd want to use Quiet Cove, I think. Into the Desert, or actually, The Desert Awaits is playing right now in the background. Let me turn that up real quick. So The Desert Awaits. Pretty good music there, I think. Great for, in general, this part of the adventure. And then, of course, Quiet Cove. I'll play that a little bit here. This is a good general by the ocean type music. Go back down. That's that. And go back to The Desert Awaits. Other music that I used is, if you're still in Kalaman, the medieval town music, Blacksmith Shop, Dock District, Slaughter Docks, for a tavern. When you get here, Quiet Cove, you'll use Quiet Cove again for the Blue Shrine, the Blue Phoenix Shrine. The Desert Awaits for general travels through the desert. The Sunken Temple, a Tabletop Audio, Ancient Artifact, and Haunted Ramparts will all come into play. And I'll have those in the description below for you. Okay, so here's a map by Tessa Maps. So the party is going to come to this Elven ship. When they set foot on it, 2 air elementals will come out of the sails. I made it 3, because really this adventure is kind of really spread out. So you got to, I think, increase the difficulty a little bit, tighten up the rounding encounters so they're happening right with the set pieces, and then you'll have some challenge for the party. So they face 3 air elementals there. Then Dalamar comes, makes his appearance after that. The party can converse with Dalamar and find out what the Sylvanesti elves are doing here. And Dalamar is able to help them. He first takes them back to the encampment of the rest of the Sylvanesti elves. His leader wants nothing to do with the party, sends them on their way. That's when Dalamar makes a pact with them and says, hey, if you go find out what's happening in these 3 locations and then report that to me, I might be able to help you find the City of Lost Names. So then I use the Malfunctioning Gate encounter as the party sets out, and I had it teleport the party. First, I kind of find out where they were going. So they decided they were going to go first to the Spires of Dawn. That's where the Sunward Tower is, or Sunward Fortress is. So I put the first Malfunctioning Gate nearby Exile's End and had it have a partner by Spires of Dawn, I was going to have all the gates kind of along the shore. So, the Malfunctioning Gate. Here's another nice map by Tessa. And it's a stone golem. No, a clay golem. Clay golems are vicious. So, I had this thing attacking 3 times a round just because I wanted to have the challenge for the party. And this is actually a stone golem. Let me change that to clay golem here real quick. Yeah. Golem, clay. So now, if you do a clay golem, your slam attacks actually can reduce a creature's maximum hit points, and it takes a greater restoration, which the party doesn't have access to right now. So use that encounter judiciously. It could really wreck a party. If they get wrecked like that, they might have to go back to the army encampment, and maybe someone in the army has greater restoration, but they shouldn't, because there's no clerics yet really widespread yet on Kryn. So be careful there. You might change that to a stone golem or leave it a clay golem and see how your party does. It was attacking the barbarian in my party, and he was making his con save, so it didn't go too bad for them. Then you can put more random encounters in. So let's say your party, instead of going to Sunward Fortress, goes first to the Blue Phoenix Shrine. So let's go over that. So here's some great maps of one of the canyons that are getting partially filled with water. And here's where I did a wandering encounter with the octopi. And given that, it matches exactly this image that's in the book. So that was really cool. Party did that encounter. Now I did that badly in that I kind of let the party get out of it right away. Although I don't know that I could have stopped them much because they all have Misty Step, quite a few of them. But that's a fun encounter to do there. Okay, then they get to the Blue Phoenix Shrine, and they'll meet the elves. And I just did the token of Ishburn, and then do the Mirror of Ishburn for the other Sea Elves. I didn't grab more Sea Elf tokens. Okay, then they'll come to the shrine itself. Now, the shrine has a map in the adventure, but there's also this cool map by Tessa for some of the Wandering Monsters encounters. So I used this one. Took a boat from Tessa's Spelljammer. I did the what are these things even called? Let's see here. Plesiosauruses. So the Plesiosauruses were in the water there. The party takes the boat across and has to battle them to get to the island. And then I had the steps down here. I just widened them a little bit from what was in the map. And then had it come down to the Blue Phoenix Shrine down below. So Quiet Cove for the Cove coming across, and then you can do Sunken Temple inside the shrine here. Now the shrine should be pretty straightforward. The party follows all the things they're supposed to follow. They won't fight anything in there. So it's not too much of a challenge to get to the end of the shrine, to get the Blessing of Habakkuk, and a potential reward if the party can go rescue the rest of the elves. Now at this point, the party will find out because the scout will return and say that the elves were taken to Sky's Tears. There's a fortress there, so they'll learn that location. And the leader, I don't know that they'll know the leaders yet at Spires of Dawn. So there's that one. Now, the next encounter I did was another wandering encounter. And this one is the first one of the dragon armies. And it makes sense kind of that they'd be patrolling near Sunward Fortress if the party's going to Sunward Fortress. Although the fortress itself is abandoned. The army could have been coming or going to it. Then you come to Sunward Fortress. Great map here. I flipped it from what Tess provided so that I could put the ramp down being over here, and then that came to the ramp into the Sunward Fortress here. So the Sunward Fortress, the battle with the kind of mutated Draconians. In here you'll find Yeagle, and who's the Sea Elf Acolyte, and you'll find Roan, who comes from Heart's Desire. So the Heart's Desire is over by High Hunt, so they'll find out about High Hunt. Roan is infected, and my party had a paladin in it, so it was not difficult for them to remove the infection. But if they can, Roan will pay 1,000 gold to get back home. So they'll find out about that place from there. Then, coming down into the basement of the Sunward Fortress, where they find this this artifact that's doing terrible things and being used by the Draconians. The Draconians turn into a green slot. Then there's a red slot down here. So I did these fights as the book describes, as these two separate encounters. If I was doing it again, I had to combine them. And it'd make it a lot more dynamic, maybe too dangerous. Be cautious, maybe give the party a round or so to fight the red slot before the green slot joins in. But that would work pretty good. And then there'd be real trouble getting across those bridges if he throws a fireball at whoever's coming across that first. Okay, so if the party finishes that, then next wandering encounter, I didn't actually do this one. Party kind of skipped over this. Oh, I know. I skipped it, but you could use this one as being like a sea creature with strange things coming out of it. I think it's the first wandering encounter in the book. Or you could add one of the other wandering encounters mixed in with this. But then when they get to the tower, I took the wandering encounter with the scorpions and had them come around the tower as the party approached. And I did 3, and that was kind of easy. You could do 4 probably. So then the party comes into the Wakenreth tower, and we'll see the elves, see the one trying to get the long sword after they're defeated. They fly up into the ceiling, come to the next level. And then this is Tessa maps here. This is Schley and then Tessa for the top. Unfortunately, they're not exactly the same scale, but they're close. Oh, and I just did an aura to make it more green in there for the green, Shadowfell coloration. Then the party will come through this gate. They'll find the ghost in the Shadowfell. They'll be attacked by this Unkalox. These things are pretty vicious, but my party handled it really well. You have to judge your party. You could put 2 of them there potentially if your party is just really strong. I even multiply the damage a lot, and it still did not stop them. Although the party had used a water elemental to help them, so that made a big difference for them. All right. Then, when the party finishes that, they will meet with Dalamar again, and Dalamar will do some studying, and from that studying can determine that the base, the foundations of this elven tower, are the same foundation that is in the Lost City, and he can tell the party that the Lost City should be at Giant's Spine. He'll also tell the party that he wants to go, he's determined there's some powerful magic near the cliffs that drink. So, at the end of a part of the adventure, the party will have good information about what's in the northernmost part of the Northern Wastes, and they'll be ready for the second part, and they should go up to 7th level for the second part. So again, I will put down in the description the pacing information, music lists, link to Tessa's maps, all the knowledge checks that I work in to share with the characters automatically, and I hope you have a great time. Please leave a message. Let us know how it went. Thank you very much.